So everyone knows that projects need review. So what they do is they go, project review, and then they put reviews in the diary, then they never have them. Why? Because if the project's going well, why bother? If the project's only slightly off track, why bother again? If it's a big disaster, then don't review it in case they find out it's your fault. Okay. So what happens is they never review them because they're assuming the projects go from the start, the here, to the end point, the there, in a lovely straight line. Of course they don't. Oops, sorry. In a lovely, that's another straight line. In a lovely straight line. They don't. Okay. What happens is there. That says there. That's a straight line. That's an arrowhead. They start off here, and then they wander off track. And they wander all over the place. And what happens is when they're far off enough track, then there's a big conversation about what's happened there. And there's a big go, and you have 2 or 3 days of misery. Then it wanders off track again. And then, oh, what happened here? So they know that reviews are grim. So people try and avoid them. Okay. If you understand about trying to make the world work, you understand that if you want to deliver perfect projects, you don't do reviews, you do previews. So you start off, and when you start off, you decide that you're going to have breakpoints very close by. So at the moment you wander off track, you have a review, but it's not a review, you have a preview. You look to see what's coming next, as opposed to what has just been. And that whole process of running your project, not by looking through the rear view mirror, but by looking out through the forward screen, is what you need as an essential to move from just running projects to being able to run perfect projects. Running projects on its own is relatively straightforward. I mean, we know the formula of projects. We know why they go wrong: cost overrun, time overrun, doesn't work, unhappy team. I'm talking about the bits at the top. Why not? Project risk not evaluated, blah, 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 blah. Planning risk, stakeholders, leadership, team. We know all that stuff. But why aren't they perfect? To get that last 25% you need to look forward. You need to integrate the project into your life. So again, if you're interested, have a look. And in the cubicle, there's an all change cubicle, which is where I've been just hanging out just now. There's a whiteboard, and if you want to come in and have a look, and on the whiteboard, it quite quickly takes you through the core concepts of what you need to do to make a project perfect. So there are a number of things, like you need to integrate it into the organization. You need meaningful metrics. I'll give you an example. The client I was working with when I developed this is a company called JP Morgan. They said, why don't we have perfect projects? So I'm slightly wrong or off piece. Then you tell your boss, then you fix it. Those are useless metrics. So we moved to having a meeting at the start of a project. Why? Because everyone doing a project says, I can tell you what will go wrong when they get to the end. Say, I knew that was going to go wrong. So at the start, we say, tell us what's going to go wrong. Then we map all that out. And if any of that goes wrong, it's the project leader's fault. If anything new comes up, the project leader points it out and he fixes it beforehand and gets a bonus. We just talked about looking forward rather than backwards.